In the vast web of mythologies that shaped Northern and Eastern Europe, certain deities stand at the crossroads of culture, geography, and shared Indo-European traditions. Potrimpo, a god from the pre-Christian Baltic Pantheon, is one such figure whose mythology intersects with themes familiar in Norse and wider Northern European belief systems. Revered by the ancient Prussians, Lithuanians, and Latvians, Potrimpo was a deity of water, rivers, fertility, harvest, and renewal. His role reflected the deep connection between natural cycles and human survival, a relationship that was central not only to Baltic spirituality, but also to the Norse worldview. Potrimpo was part of a triad of gods alongside Perkunas, the thunder god, and Pikuls, the underworld deity. Together, these gods maintained the balance of the natural and spiritual worlds. Potrimpo's dominion over water made him the giver of life, sustainer of crops, and guardian of abundance. To ancient Baltic peoples, rivers, lakes, and streams were more than physical features. They were sacred lifelines. Potrimpo's flowing waters nourished the earth, ensured bountiful harvests, and symbolized the cyclical nature of life itself. Although his mythology is distinct from Norse traditions, Potrimpo shares thematic similarities with Norse gods such as Njord, the sea and wind deity, and Freyr, the fertility and harvest god. Like Njord, Potrimpo's domain over water connected him to both prosperity and safe passage for travelers. Like Freyr, his blessings were essential for agricultural success, community well-being, and the continuation of life. In both Norse and Baltic belief systems, fertility deities were not only givers of abundance, but also protectors of harmony between humans and the natural world. Potrimpo's worship often took place near rivers and springs, with offerings of bread, honey, and livestock cast into the waters as gifts of gratitude and requests for continued blessings. In some accounts, green wreaths and flowers were floated downstream in his honor, echoing seasonal rites that celebrated the renewal of life in spring and the abundance of summer. The flowing water symbolized the eternal cycle of death and rebirth, a concept that also appears in Norse cosmology through the sacred wells and rivers that feed Yggdrasil, the world tree. In the agricultural societies of the Baltic region, Potrimpo's role was crucial. Farmers prayed for timely rains and protection from drought, as both extremes could devastate their livelihoods. His waters were also tied to ritual cleansing and purification. Just as rain could wash the dust from the earth, so too could Potrimpo's blessings cleanse spiritual impurities, restoring balance within the community. The symbolic importance of water in Potrimpo's myth mirrors its significance in Norse lore. In Norse mythology, water often acts as a boundary between worlds, a source of wisdom, and a transformative force. Sacred wells such as Mimisbrunn and Urðarbrunn hold deep spiritual meaning, much like the sacred springs and rivers dedicated to Potrimpo. In both traditions, water serves as a life-giving and life-renewing element that connects the mortal world to the divine. Potrimpo was sometimes depicted as a youthful, vibrant figure crowned with green plants, representing fertility and the vitality of nature. Other traditions portray him as a serpent or dragon-like creature living in the waters, symbolizing both the mystery and the power of his domain. The serpent imagery is particularly intriguing when compared to Norse myths, where sea serpents like Jormungandr embody the immense and untamed forces of water. However, while Jormungandr is a destructive cosmic threat, Potrimpo's serpent form appears as a protective and sustaining presence, underlining the Baltic emphasis on water as a nurturer rather than solely as a danger. As Christianity spread through the Baltic region in the late Middle Ages, the worship of Potrimpo and other pagan gods was systematically suppressed. His image and attributes were sometimes absorbed into Christian saints, particularly those associated with water or harvests, while other times he was demonized to discourage pagan practices. Despite this, elements of Potrimpo's worship survived in folk traditions, seasonal festivals, and rural customs. Rituals involving water offerings, harvest celebrations, and the symbolic connection between rivers and fertility continued in disguised forms well into the modern era. Today, Potrimpo remains a figure of fascination for historians, folklorists, neo-pagans, and cultural revivalists. His mythology offers a window into how ancient Baltic peoples understood their environment, their gods, and the interdependence between the two. In exploring his stories alongside Norse parallels, we see the shared human reverence for natural forces and the cycles that govern life. Potrimpo's flowing rivers and fertile fields mirror the Norse seas and sunlit meadows, both realms sustained by divine guardians who embody the generosity and unpredictability of nature. Potrimpo's enduring legacy lies in the reminder that prosperity depends on balance between water and land, between human effort and nature's will, between the present and the cycles of renewal that connect it to the past and future. In the age of climate change and environmental awareness, his story resonates as a timeless call to respect the forces that sustain life. Much like the Norse gods who command sea, sun, and storm, Potrimpo speaks to a truth that transcends cultural boundaries. Without harmony between humanity and nature, the blessings of abundance cannot endure.